Everyone thought they knew Wolfgang Van Halen, just another privileged kid handed a rock legacy he never earned. Online mobs destroyed him. David Lee Roth publicly mocked him. Fans chanted for anyone but him. For years, the world believed one story: talentless Nepo baby. But in 2024, Alex Van Halen, the last surviving founding member, broke his silence. His memoir revealed something that shattered the narrative everyone had accepted. Then in 2025, Wolfgang walked onto a Las Vegas stage and fans didn't recognize him. 40 to 50 pounds gone, face transformed, energy unrecognizable. But the physical change was just the surface. What had been burning inside him all those years, hidden beneath the grief, the persecution, the weight of a name too big to carry. The truth was far more devastating than anyone imagined. Back in 2006, when Wolfgang became Van Halen's bassist at just 15 years old, replacing the beloved Michael Anthony, the backlash exploded across every corner of the rock world. Michael had anchored the band for nearly 3 decades. His backing vocals were iconic. The switch felt like betrayal to loyal fans, and they made sure Wolfgang felt their rage. Online forums ripped him apart with accusations of nepotism. Crowds at early shows chanted Michael instead of his name, trying to erase him from the stage he was standing on. And then David Lee Roth made everything worse. Roth mocked Wolfgang publicly on YouTube, calling him a cringe-worthy Nepo baby, and dedicating songs to the bassist's son during concerts, turning audiences against a teenager who was just trying to play music. For years, people believed the narrative that Wolfgang hadn't earned his place. But in October 2024, Alex Van Halen published his memoir, Brothers, through Harper. The book became a New York Times bestseller, and inside its pages, Alex set the record straight. He revealed that before Wolfgang officially joined, they called Michael Anthony directly to handle the transition properly, contradicting Michael's public claim that he found out on the internet. Alex defended Wolfgang, stating he got the job fair and square. Coming from the only surviving founding member, this testimony carried weight that silenced critics who had spent years questioning Wolfgang's legitimacy. Alex wasn't protecting a nephew or covering for family. He was stating what musicians inside 5150 Studios had witnessed firsthand. Wolfgang could do the work. The proof had always existed, hiding in plain sight. July 2012, Mark Tremonti's bassist quit days before tour launch. Panic mode, Tremonti called Wolfgang. He walked into 5150 Studios, listened to the entire set once, then learned every song overnight. Next morning, he ran through the material without hesitation. Tremonti and his band stopped mid-rehearsal and stared. This wasn't Eddie Van Halen's son getting a favor. This was a musician absorbing complex music faster than players twice his age. Wolfgang played over 50 shows, officially joined in 2013, recorded Cauterize and Dust. Wish You Well hit #1 on Billboard, 200 shows while juggling Van Halen commitments. He wasn't riding a legacy, he was forging one. But behind the music, something far more painful was unfolding. During the recording sessions for Van Halen's A Different Kind of Truth from 2010 to 2012, Wolfgang confronted his father about addiction. He told Eddie to choose between him and the drugs. Eddie later admitted that ultimatum pushed him toward partial sobriety. Without that moment, the album might never have been completed. It took a kind of courage most people never reach to tell a parent something that brutal. But Wolfgang understood that love sometimes meant drawing a line.
Then, in 2015, Wolfgang planted a seed. He asked his father a question. What if Michael Anthony came back? What if Wolfgang opened the show with his solo project, and then all eras of Van Halen performed together? Roth, Sammy Hagar, even Gary Cherone. Eddie resisted at first, but slowly Wolfgang brought him around. The idea evolved into what they jokingly called the Kitchen Sink Tour, everyone but the kitchen sink. Manager Irving Azoff started making calls. By 2018 and 2019, the plan was becoming real. Then in 2019, Eddie had a motorcycle accident. Doctors found a brain tumor. The cancer had returned. The tour died before it was ever announced. Wolfgang later said, "If only things had been better, it would have been amazing." Eddie Van Halen passed away on October 6, 2020, at 65 years old after a long battle with cancer. Wolfgang was 29 and stayed beside his father until the end. When he shared the news, he wrote that Edward Lodewijk Van Halen had lost his long and hard battle that morning, and that he had been the best father he could ever ask for. The grief was overwhelming. Wolfgang had written the song "Distance" back in 2018 when his father's condition was worsening. Lines like "This is not goodbye" had been penned long before Eddie died. When the song released on November 16, 2020, it raced to #1 on Billboard's mainstream rock chart and crossed 10 million streams within weeks. Every dollar went to the Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation. It wasn't just a tribute, it was a son trying to hold on to something that was slipping away. When people asked what would happen to Van Halen, Wolfgang made his position clear on The Howard Stern Show: no Eddie, no Van Halen. Behind the scenes, plans had been forming for a 2022 tribute tour. Alex Van Halen wanted to honor his brother the way Queen honored Freddie Mercury. Roth was involved. Joe Satriani was set to play guitar. But when Alex suggested they acknowledge Eddie during the show, Roth exploded. Alex later revealed in October 2024 during a Rolling Stone interview, the vitriol that came out was unbelievable. The tour collapsed. Wolfgang had hinted at it earlier, saying certain people make it very difficult to do anything when it comes to Van Halen. Now everyone knew exactly what happened. But Wolfgang kept moving forward. He released his debut solo album under the name Mammoth WVH on June 11, 2021, writing, singing, and playing every instrument himself. Critics praised him for talent that stood entirely on its own. In 2022, Distance earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rock Song. He toured with Dirty Honey on the Young Guns tour, then co-headlined with Motley Crue and Depard Leppard in the UK. By 2023, he played guitar on Just Ken for the Barbie soundtrack alongside Slash, and the song crossed 500 million streams. Then, in 2023, something unexpected happened. Wolfgang Van Halen invited Michael Anthony to a Mammoth WVH concert as his personal guest. It wasn't a publicity stunt or a forced reunion. It was quiet, human, and long overdue. They sat down together, they talked. Valerie Bertolini, Wolfgang's mother, was there too, bearing witness to a moment that had been nearly 2 decades in the making. For Michael Anthony, who never had the chance to reconcile with Eddie Van Halen before his death, the evening carried enormous emotional weight. "There was a lot of closure for me there," Michael later said. He praised Wolfgang's musicianship, called him a genuinely good man, and spoke with relief rather than bitterness. After years of silence, legal disputes, and unresolved hurt following his departure from Van Halen, the wounds were finally beginning to heal. Valerie Bertolini's grief had always been complicated. She had divorced Eddie 13 years before his death and had since remarried. Yet watching Wolfgang navigate his loss reopened emotions she thought were long settled. In 2024, after viewing Wolfgang's episode of Behind the Music, she posted a tearful, brutally honest video. She admitted she had constructed some sort of fantasy soulmate recreation of her marriage to Eddie, when the reality had been marked by drugs, alcohol, and infidelity. Still, she found clarity in the pain. She realized she had been grieving a man she hadn't lived with for 20 years. What remained, what truly mattered, was Wolfgang. "That's what I got out of that marriage, the best thing that ever happened to me." The grief had nearly destroyed him, but by 2024, Wolfgang chose survival over collapse. Whole foods, therapy, meditation, healing the wounds grief had carved into him. The 40 to 50-pound transformation wasn't vanity, it was reclaiming his life. When he stepped onto that Las Vegas stage in November 2025, the photos went viral. The energy was undeniable. He had proven everyone wrong, not just as Eddie's son, but as a musician, a survivor, a man who turned pain into power. The Nepo baby accusations? Shattered. If this story moved you, hit like, share it, and let the world know the truth. Thanks for watching.